Hey, it's Dr. J. Hi students, here to do another video lecture for you on Chapter 5. So Chapter 5 is Women Leaders in Global Business. So this chapter is super interesting to me in particularly because I'm a woman. But the learning objectives are outstanding when it comes to outlining some historical events within the content of women leaders in global business. Okay? All right, so global cultural stereotypes about women leaders. So this section talks a lot about women's behavior at work, historically how it's changed, women and mothers, how women are able now to also have their careers and have families as well. In recent past, that wasn't always something that was deemed a right of women, and now we have tons of legislation that covers the ability for women to go on to maternity leave and return back to their positions without their positions being outsourced out or filled while they're on maternity leave. Also, women in international content, women interacting with their working environment, and stereotypes that hinder the advancement of women. So, although when you are a woman working in a organization or as a global leader or business leader, it's not your responsibility to, take heed to every single thing as far as what you're responsible for as a woman, but it is your responsibility to know your rights legally on the global aspect of understanding women's rights and women's rights in the workplace. So some women's behavior at work I thought was interesting was one thing is that women are too soft, the book quotes. Now, it's been said at times that women that have a more aggressive or a more choleric personality sometimes are seen as too harsh or, not feminine enough, but at the same time, women are also stereotyped to be a certain way. So depending on you individually, you have your own personal choice in how you want to portray yourself in the workforce. Me, myself, I make sure at all times that I'm very cognizant of my voice level, my ability to understand the topics I talk about, when I'm in meetings, all that good stuff, because being a woman is a factor. It's one of the things that's seen first when I walk into a room. But I think it's really important to understand different parts of the cultural revolution where women were expected to behave less aggressively, and now we have the ability to be our own selves without the stereotypes because we're covered by, EEOC's legislation, which, assures our equal place in the workplace. But there's still some things to work out, don't get me wrong. I'm super positive about it, but I know there's some things that still need to get worked out as far as equal pay, things like that. Okay? All right. Talks about, speaking of equal pay, talks about significant pay gaps that exist between men and women in the same position. Now, often salaries are not discussed openly in the workforce, but at times, the topic comes up more likely than others, especially during interviews. As women, sometimes women don't always ask, well, what's the pay for this position or what's the salary for this position, because it's not deemed something that is kosher to bring up during an interview. I myself do bring it up during interviews if I'm interviewing for a position. If I'm there, then obviously I'm there because I want to get compensated for the services that I render. So that's my take on that. Balancing work and family. I thought this was interesting because it gave a couple of different case studies of how to balance work and family. Now, again, it goes individually. Each woman has their own way of balancing, work life. But the book talks about the working mom, balancing life outside of the work, and life at work is a major concern of most working professionals, especially with more women in the workforce now than ever before. I think that's important to look at. Challenges faced within trying to balance the work and family. That could be, even if you don't have children, that could just be your work life and your family life, period, whether you're in a relationship or whether you have outside obligations outside of work. Okay? All right. The glass ceiling. So I thought that was really interesting because every situation when it comes to women in the workplace, the glass ceiling comes up. But this is getting broken many times over and over again. There are lots of women CEOs currently in positions in highly Fortune 500 companies that are distinguished. But it's also something that should be more because of the fact that there are more women in the workforce. So more of those positions are becoming available. And then the quality management models. So the quality management models are interesting because it goes into, research, conferences, meetings, workshops that have all been conducted in the areas of gender and diversity. So these items have been conducted in order to gain a deeper, richer, more fuller understanding of women in the workplace and the effect that it has when it comes to work-life balance for women. All right. But there's still work to be done. In fact, there's a whole section that talks about work still to be done. So some things that still need to get done on the equality of women in the workplace is increasing the flow of information and education of women about current issues, demonstrating that CEO commitment as corporate leaders is still essential, and closing the pay gap is a huge one, and increasing recruitment, providing training opportunities, and placing women in high-profile positions. All right, so that was basically Chapter 4, a synopsis of it. If you have any specific questions about Chapter 4, you're welcome to email me, call me, or come by my office here. I am here for you, and I'm here for your success. Have a wonderful day.